Because while Cleveland's coaching staff was busy pretending the house wasn't on fire, the rest of the league was sniffing around like wolves outside a chicken coop. And then came Miami. You know, the team with a high-powered offense, Super Bowl ambitions, and a habit of making bold moves at just the right time. Yeah, that Miami. They made it known, through those ever-mysterious sources close to the organization, that they were interested. Cue the panic in Cleveland.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
Andrew Berry? Shocked. Not publicly, of course. Behind closed doors, though, sources say he didn't see this coming. At all. Which is weird. Because when multiple NFL teams are circling a player, that's not a fluke. That's not hype. That's value. And instead of recognizing that value, Cleveland has been treating Shedeur like a delicate art piece. Too precious to use, too controversial to talk about, and far too dangerous to let go. But here's the thing. NFL teams don't wait around for your existential crisis to resolve itself. While Cleveland hesitates, teams like Atlanta, New England, and even Minnesota are reportedly monitoring the situation. They're watching the Browns fumble a golden opportunity. And you better believe they're already cooking up trade packages. Because Shedeur isn't just promising. He's plug and play. He's the kind of quarterback that instantly injects life into your offense, puts butts in seats, and sells jerseys faster than you can say QB1. And if Cleveland doesn't move, if they keep him benched, keep him boxed in by outdated playbooks and coaching paranoia, they're not just wasting a rookie. They're practically gifting him to another team. Let's talk about Stefanski for a second. Look, it's not like he's evil. But the man is playing it safe to a fault. The refusal to even test Shedeur in regular season action reeks of a head coach too scared to break routine, too obsessed with system integrity. And yeah, we get it. NFL systems take time, and young QBs can implode without the right support. But this isn't about caution anymore. This is about ego. This is about a coaching staff that would rather go down clinging to their playbook than admit they might have found a better fit than they planned for. And in a league where every Sunday is basically a war, that kind of stubbornness isn't strategy. It's sabotage. Meanwhile, Browns fans? Oh, they're done being polite. Social media is flooded with AI edits of Shedeur in other teams' colors. Dolphins teal, Patriots red, Vikings purple. Fans are already mentally shipping him off, and honestly, can you blame them? The pressure is mounting. The media is circling. Even former players are weighing in, some calling Cleveland's hesitation a masterclass in mismanagement. The writing's on the wall. And now the Browns are stuck. Because if they don't play him, they look like cowards. If they do play him and he shines, they look like fools for waiting so long. And if they trade him, well, then they become that franchise. The one who had a future star in their building and let him walk out the door. Let's not pretend this is rare. NFL history is littered with stories like this. Teams that passed on Mahomes. Teams that misused Lamar. The Chargers once let Drew Brees go. This league has receipts. And if Shedeur ends up leading another team to the playoffs, while Cleveland limps through another 7-10 season with a quarterback carousel and a coach clinging to a clipboard, the memes will be merciless. Let's give out an early fake award, shall we? The congratulations, you played yourself trophy goes to the Browns front office for managing to turn a quarterback surplus into a full-blown PR disaster in under 6 weeks. Seriously, that takes talent. The worst part? This isn't even just about Shedeur anymore. This is about Cleveland's credibility, their future draft picks, their ability to attract any top-tier talent going forward. Because when you show the league you can't recognize, or worse, won't use elite talent, that reputation sticks. It spreads. And suddenly, no one wants to come play for you. Meanwhile, Shedeur? He's chilling, watching, probably texting his dad, like, yo, this is wild. And you just know Deion Sanders is waiting for the moment he can blast a told you, so tweet so spicy it burns half the AFC North. Here's the real danger. If the Browns wait too long and Shedeur requests a trade, or worse, forces free agency. Their hands are tied. They don't get the leverage. They don't get the package. They don't get anything. And the Dolphins? They walk away with a potential franchise quarterback and a media win for the ages. While Cleveland just becomes a cautionary tale. Again, another chapter in a long, excruciating saga of what-ifs and almosts. At some point, someone in that front office is going to have to make a decision. And it better come fast. Because the clock is ticking, the vultures are circling, and the fan base is not going to wait patiently while their future walks out the door in slow motion. There's a moment in every sports drama where a team stands at the edge of the cliff and either jumps or backs away and lets the wind do the rest. Cleveland is standing right there. So what's it going to be? Jump or fade into irrelevance? Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're living for this kind of football chaos. And drop a comment with where you think Shedeur should end up. Should the Browns finally start him? Or is it time to let him go and watch him cook somewhere else? Either way, this saga's just getting started. This isn't just about internal politics anymore. The entire league is watching. Every GM, every coordinator, every locker room leader, with an ounce of ambition, has their eyes locked on this drama playing out in slow, excruciating motion. Let's paint the picture. You're a quarterback-needy team. Maybe you're the Falcons, maybe the Raiders, maybe even the Broncos. You've got weapons, but no one to throw to them. Your fans are restless. Your coach is on the hot seat. And then, boom, you hear that Shedeur Sanders might be gettable. You mean the guy with the high IQ, clean mechanics, natural leadership, and media magnet energy? That guy? And all you need to do is call up Cleveland and offer a first-round pick, maybe throw in a veteran safety, and suddenly your franchise has a face. You can't not make that call. And if you're Miami? Oh, now that is a whole different beast. Because the Dolphins don't need Shedeur, but they want him. Imagine pairing him with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and that lightning-fast playbook. That's a Madden simulation waiting to happen. That's marketing gold. That's turning your already dangerous offense into something terrifying. And if Tua's health becomes a question again, boom, Shedeur steps in, seamlessly. It's insurance, it's vision, it's long-term domination, and it's exactly what a smart front office does. Which is why the Dolphins showing interest wasn't just a headline, it was a warning. To Cleveland, to the fans, to the rest of the NFL. And Cleveland? They're still sitting there, arms folded, acting like they hold all the cards. Newsflash, they don't. Because they've already lost the trust of the fans. Look around, Browns Nation is over it. They're sick of the excuses. Sick of the he's not ready press conference soundbites. Sick of being treated like they don't see what's right in front of them. They saw Shedeur drop dimes in preseason. They saw the pocket awareness. They saw the footwork. And they saw you ignore it. So now the fans are doing what any sane fan base would do, turning the pressure all the way up. Twitter threads. Jersey swaps. Instagram reels with dramatic Drake songs playing over highlights. You know the ones. This isn't just frustration. It's a full-blown uprising. And here's where things start to boil over. You've got Shedeur's camp, quiet for now, but come on, how long does that last? How long until a source close to Sanders drops a quote in a national sports column? Something cryptic, like he just wants a chance to show what he can do. And boom. Now it's a soap opera. The Browns' front office becomes the villain. Stefanski? Suddenly, he's the guy who wouldn't let talent speak for itself. Barry? Now he's the GM who let fear drive his decisions. And Shedeur? Oh, he becomes the underdog hero just waiting to break free. Which brings us to the elephant in the room. What if he actually asks for a trade? What if this isn't just a passive-aggressive situation anymore? What if Shedeur looks around, sees the offers on the table, sees the chaos in Cleveland, and just decides, nah. What then? Now Cleveland's on the defensive. Now they're not choosing their fate, they're reacting to it. And trust in the NFL? That's the worst position to be in. Because the power shifts. Now you're scrambling. Now you're the team with a damaged asset. Now the phone rings, and it's not a first-round offer anymore. It's a second, maybe a third. A backup receiver and a conditional pick. Because the other GMs? They smell blood. They see desperation. And you? You just went from having a franchise quarterback to a PR nightmare in less than a month. What makes this all the more brutal is the fact that Cleveland could have avoided this. All they had to do was give the kid a shot. Put him in during a game that was already lost. Let him run a series. See how the team responded. What's the harm in that? Worst case, he needs time. Best case, he lights it up and you suddenly look like a genius. But instead, they chose control. They chose status quo. And in doing so, they may have chosen failure. Because the NFL doesn't wait for you to feel comfortable. You either evolve or you get left behind. And right now, Cleveland is limping toward the back of the line. Which makes this whole mess so tragic. Because on paper, this could have been a comeback story. Shedeur drafted into a shaky but passionate franchise. Earns his reps, becomes the face of the Browns. Leads the team to relevance. Finally gives fans a QB they can believe in. But instead, it's turning into something darker. A story about fear. About missed chances. About ego. And you have to wonder, what's the conversation inside those front office meetings right now? Are they still trying to convince themselves this is fine? Do they really think they can PR spin their way out of this? Do they think fans will forget if they just push it down long enough? Spoiler alert, they won't. Not when every Sunday they're watching teams like Miami, Atlanta, and New England make bold moves while Cleveland sits in the corner, second-guessing every decision. There's a lesson here. And it's not just about Shedeur. It's about every team that refuses to trust its own instincts. Every coach who lets pride cloud judgment. Every GM who'd rather protect his resume than make a risky move. That's how dynasties die. Not with a blowout. Not with a scandal. But with indecision. With silence. With a kid holding a helmet on the sideline while the team falls apart on the field. And if Cleveland doesn't fix this fast, they're not just going to lose Shedeur. They're going to lose everything. Their credibility. Their momentum. Their fan base's faith. And those are the kinds of things you can't trade for. So here's the real question, Cleveland. Are you going to play the game or get played? It's not too late. Not yet. But make no mistake, time's up. Because somewhere in South Florida, the Dolphins are watching. Waiting. And if they get Shedeur Sanders in that jersey, you're not just losing a quarterback. You're watching your future throw touchdown passes for someone else. We haven't even touched on what he must be thinking right now. You don't come from the Sanders family and just sit quietly while people play political games with your career. Shedeur isn't some kid just happy to be here. He was built for the spotlight. He grew up in it. He knows how to carry himself. But don't mistake quiet for passive. This is a quarterback who's been doubted every step of the way and proved people wrong every single time. So how long do you think he's going to stay silent while his stock skyrockets and his cleats collect dust? This is the NFL equivalent of leaving a Ferrari in the garage because you're not sure about the gas mileage. And you know there are conversations happening behind closed doors. Shedeur's agents? His inner circle? Dion? Oh, Dion's watching this like it's an ESPN soap opera. He knows how this business works. He's probably got receipts, screenshots, maybe even a mood board for the day Shedeur walks into a new franchise with something to prove and a vengeance arc hotter than any defensive line. Can you imagine the headlines? Cleveland let him walk. Now he's the future of the league. Browns blinked and lost their star. It practically writes itself. And if you're the Browns, that should terrify you. Because the last thing you want is for this to become that story. The kind every fan base references for the next 10 years when talking about front office incompetence. The kind of story that turns into a warning label. Don't pull a Cleveland. And let's not forget, we're living in the content era. Everything gets clipped. Every sideline reaction, every cryptic Instagram story, every eyebrow raise from a coach gets dissected like it's a scene from Succession. So even when you think things are quiet, they're not. And it's only a matter of time before something cracks. Maybe it's a reporter who slips a too honest question in a post-game presser. Maybe it's a liked tweet from Shedeur's burner account. Don't pretend these guys don't have burners. Or maybe it's just a mic'd up moment that catches one of his teammates saying, "Man, I wish they'd let Shedeur cook." And boom, match meets gasoline. Let's also talk about Cleveland's locker room dynamic for a second. You know, guys are talking. Players aren't dumb. They watch film. They know talent when they see it. And if your second-string rookie is out throwing your starter in practice, you can't expect morale to stay unaffected. It starts small, just side eyes during drills. Private convos between receivers in the locker room. But that stuff spreads. And when morale starts to dip, it's over. Because it's not just about winning games. It's about believing the team is doing everything it can to win. And right now, there are probably guys wondering why the most exciting player on the roster is basically being bubble-wrapped. And let's not even get into the optics of this. The NFL is a PR battlefield. Every franchise is constantly trying to control the narrative, win the news cycle, stay one step ahead of the next embarrassing headline. Well, the Browns? They're walking straight into a hurricane with a paper umbrella. Right now, their PR strategy seems to be, let's pretend it's fine until it explodes. Which is adorable. But the thing about ignoring a fire is, it still burns your house down. Now, let's do a little time travel. Picture this, it's mid-season. The Browns are 3-6. The offense is stagnant. The starters thrown more picks than touchdowns. Fans are booing. Local radio is in full meltdown mode. And on the sideline, there's Shedeur. Still not playing. How long do you think that lasts before someone media, teammate, agent, somebody goes rogue? How long before someone leaks a voicemail? Or a private team meeting gets mysteriously transcribed? Because the deeper this drags on, the more explosive it gets. It's the classic NFL tension loop. Build hype. Ignore hype. Panic when hype becomes pressure. Lose control. Panic harder. Self-destruct. The Browns have entered the loop. Now let's talk stakes. Because this isn't just about one quarterback. This is about trajectory. Every franchise has its what-if moment. The butterfly effect moment. The pivot that decides everything. What if Seattle never gave Russ the reins? What if the Chiefs passed on Mahomes? What if the Patriots never took a chance on that sixth-round guy named Tom? You know what those franchises didn't do? Sit on potential out of fear. But Cleveland? They've made what if a personality trait. What if they had played Shedeur? What if they had trusted their gut? What if they had just taken the leap? Because now, no matter what happens, the narrative is tainted. If they keep him and finally play him, people will ask why it took this long. If they trade him, he becomes their loss and someone else's gain. And if they do nothing, if they stall until the off-season, hope the buzz dies down, hope he just waits, they're dreaming. This isn't college ball anymore. Players run the league now. They have leverage, brands, voices. And Shedeur? He's not a backup, he's a business. So if you think he's going to let his rookie year waste away in the name of trusting the process, you're not paying attention. He's watching, waiting, and probably already circling the dates for next year's revenge tour. Let's talk about the fans again, because they are the wild card in all of this. When the fan base turns, it doesn't just hurt your image. It crushes your leverage. Other teams see the public revolt and smell desperation. Trade talks get ugly. Offers get worse. And free agents? They take note. Why would a top-tier wideout want to come to a team that can't even manage its most promising QB? It becomes a ripple effect. One missed decision turning into 5. A single ego call snowballing into an organizational crisis. And the longer Cleveland waits, the deeper they sink. Let's wrap it up with a little poetic irony, shall we? Because this isn't new for the Browns. This isn't some one-time stumble. This is a team with a legacy of doing exactly this, failing to recognize what's right in front of them. Quarterbacks come and go. Coaches rotate like Instagram filters. Front office drama leaks out like oil from an overworked engine. And every time, fans are told the same thing. Just wait. Trust the system. It's part of the plan. Cool. But you know what else is part of the plan? Results. And, at some point, potential doesn't pay the bills. Promise doesn't keep the lights on. You've got a generational quarterback, sitting, waiting, wasting. And the scariest part? The scariest part is that if you blink, If you hesitate for just a little longer, you won't lose him in a trade. You'll lose him to history. Because someone else will give him the spotlight. Someone else will bet on him. And the Browns? They'll be left with yet another story that ends with, he could have been ours. Shedeur represents more than just talent. He's swagger, but with structure. Flash, but with fundamentals. He's got that I'm him energy, but he backs it up. This isn't hype for hype's sake. This is a dude who walked into the NFL and immediately made veterans look nervous. And Cleveland? They're treating him like a third-string practice body. It's like they're allergic to success. The fans see it. The players see it. The media is circling like it's Shark Week. And yet somehow, the decision-makers are paralyzed, like they're waiting for a spreadsheet to magically scream, start him now. But you know what doesn't wait? Opportunity. Opportunity moves. It picks up its bags and heads south. It takes a flight to Miami, where the weather's nicer, the system's smarter, and the coach is actually willing to evolve. If this goes the way it feels like it's going, and Shedeur ends up lighting up defenses in a different jersey while Cleveland runs another tired reboot of maybe next year, the franchise that cried quarterback. Just go ahead and reserve the documentary title, Wasted Talent, the Shedeur Sanders Cleveland Standoff. Because that's the story we're writing right now, in real time. And the ending? Still wide open. Maybe someone in that front office grows a spine. Maybe Stefanski realizes playing scared is just another way of losing slowly. Maybe the locker room finally gets loud enough to force a change. But maybe not. Maybe they ride this out until it crashes. Maybe they let a generational player rot on the sideline while another team turns him into the next big thing. And Cleveland? They'll go on pretending like they just couldn't see it coming. You know what? Go ahead. Prove us wrong. Start him. Shake things up. Do literally anything but sit on your hands and pray the heat dies down. Because the heat? It's only getting hotter. All right, I'm done yelling into the void. Your turn. Drop your takes in the comments. Who's winning this standoff? Is it already too late for the Browns to fix this? Or do they still have time to flip the script? And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. Because trust me, this saga, it's just getting warmed up.